Hey Monique, how are you?
Hey, good.
Welcome to our question and answer session. Thanks so much for joining us, Monique. How have you been?
Oh, I've been good. I've been good. I can't complain. Healthy. We're sheltered in here. I've taken on a new career as a homeschool teacher.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. Oh, yeah. There you go. Homeschool teacher.
Yes.
My name is Melissa Ostrander, and I am with Arc Productions. Thank you so much for joining us for the Q&A session after our episode 6 release. And with us is Monique Horton. Horton? Did I get your name? Huh?
Yes. With a T.
She is joining us from the cast, and she played the character Heidi, pastor's wife. And thank you so much again for joining us. So you've been a homeschool teacher.
Yes, yes. But I'm going to join the union soon because I'm looking for a substitute. So I'm going to need a substitute teacher to somehow take over some of these days for me because I have two children. And they're in, like, one is in 7th grade and the other one is in 2nd grade. And so, new math. It's yes. There's I'm going to school too. Let's just say that.
Right. So we just got done watching episode 6 of the web series Churched.
Yes.
And in this episode, we were talking about reaching out to your neighbor, or the Bring Your Neighbor Day that everybody has at church, and the whole, how do you go about talking to people and inviting them to church, or inviting them to talk about Jesus and to talk about God and to be a witness.
Yes.
So how did it feel to walk into that kind of a situation, Heidi?
So Heidi is kind of a reluctant pastor's wife, I would say. She's just now kind of coming on board that this is like the reality, for real, with Pastor Steve, and he's all psyched. And I'm, just kind of coming alongside. I support him 100%, but I'm like, okay, so come to church. I'm like, let's just, strangle them and bring them in. What's the problem? Everybody love Jesus. Come on, you should be here.
Hey, Mimi, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, Mimi.
I don't know if you can see the comments over there, Monique, but in case anybody does say anything, you should be able to see the comments over there on the right-hand side.
Okay, I can't see the comments yet. But Mimi is like my best friend, Sorry, in the show. And so, I appreciate her at one point, but then she fills my closet with a bunch of things that, are like crafts, like, arts and crafts. And I don't want to let her down, but I got to tuck them away and slowly bring them to burn them somewhere, but without her knowing it.
Without her knowing. Ruth said, Monique, you were great.
Thank you. Thank you, Gladys. Thank you, Gladys. You are hysterical. You are hysterical. Thank you so much.
Mimi saying besties. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Monique. How did you get started acting? How did you decide that you wanted to be an actress? What pushed you into this kind of a career?
Insanity. And so, no, seriously, but I can remember when I was actually in the 2nd grade, and I was got the lead part in a play about bears. And so I was studying for my part. It was so many lines, and I was like, oh my gosh, so nervous. And then there was like the Chicago blizzard. Yeah. So I didn't get a chance to ever do it. So now this is like me fulfilling the 2nd grade dream of trying to get my part as, Mama Bear back so that I can do this. But then later on, of course, actually I had I've always wanted to do this, and I was really inspired, believe it or not, by Grease. Do you remember Grease with John Travolta? And yes, so, and Olivia Newton-John, I wanted to be Rizzo. I loved that. And I love music. I love musical theater. And so, I actually dance. And so I went into dance for a while. I actually pursued a career in architecture. And I actually, I was practicing architecture, but I always wanted to act. And so now I am like probably the baby of the group as far as the amount of time spent in the acting field. But I have I would say that one of the greatest passions for it. So I am grateful for the church experience. It was an awesome time on set.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Somebody commented that they loved your character and how you handled the name issue, that they found it hilarious. You ever experienced that kind of thing yourself?
Yes. When I went to, the character Heidi actually went to college with Pastor Steve, and that's how they met. So I remember being in college, and I went to a college that was not a lot of people looked like me. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And so I got that a lot. So I had to learn how to handle that early on so that I could, remain tactful and diplomatic and be a Christian at the same time.
And still get your point across.
And still get my point across. Yes.
So
I'm glad you guys tackled that. I appreciate the writing for tackling that too.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really thought that was well done. I didn't do the writing myself, but it was definitely an item that Crystal and I had thrown around. And when Crystal wrote it, it was just hilarious because you do see it so often.
Mm-hmm. Tangerina.
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 Yeah. Poor guy. So as an actor or an artist, what is your biggest concern coming out of the COVID-19 epidemic? And this is for everybody. I know that we've got other people on here that are part of our cast. But Monique, why don't you tell us, what's your biggest concern coming out of this as an actor?
So one of my biggest concerns is that people will not come out of fear. So I think there's been a lot of fear that people have been faced with, which fear to me stifles creativity. And so one of my concerns is that people won't continue to be as creative. In some cases, people are being more creative. So I've seen a lot of creative things come out of this during this time. So I'm hoping that people remain as creative or even more creative coming out of this. And not kind of fall back into some of the old stifling ways that we were doing it before.
And so for the people that are joining us online here, Ruth, Mimi, do you have any thoughts about, as an actor and artist, what's your biggest concern coming out of the COVID-19 epidemic? I know it's hard because you have to type something in here.
Yes.
I know one of my biggest fears coming out of this COVID epidemic is just divisiveness, people feeling like it's an us versus them kind of a situation where I know I've had conversations even with people walking down the street, my neighbors, contractors that are working in the neighborhood, and talking about how they feel like everybody could go back out and it's okay. And yet there are people who are really at risk. And it's so important for us all to be willing to do our best to still, stay as separate as possible and yet still be a community and recognize that we're all in this together. I know a lot of the things that I've been talking about with people is that we are in this together. It isn't, just an us versus them kind of a thing, but it's an all of us taking care of each other as friends and as neighbors and making sure that everybody is safe, not just a couple people are safe, but that everybody is safe.
Yes. And I think that that was so well said. I think, we have to remember that there are crews of people and there's a lot that happens in the background to make this happen. And so, as an actor, I want to be as engaging as possible with everyone. And so, that means, how do I continue to share kindness? I'm a hugger, so I like to, hug. But I think a lot of things were kind of common sense, like I got to wash my hands when I come out of the bathroom for 20
Yeah.
seconds.
Right.
I could have been doing that anyway.
Right.
So,
right.
but now I think if we're just a little bit more, we can be cautious about things. Yeah, when you sneeze, there should be something covering your mouth, right?
Right.
And if you're not feeling well, and if you're not feeling well, and don't come to work, because you don't want to get worse, and you don't want people around you to be worse. And some of these things, have been already said before COVID-19, and we just have to kind of remember that we are all a community. And so, it's like the Bible says, treat your neighbor like you treat yourself. So we just remember some of those basic things. And I think that applies, all across the board. I'll say this too, as someone who dances as well. And shout out to the AFC Dance Ministry. Let me just get the shout out for them. People are like, well, how are we going to dance? How are we going to partner? How are we going to do that? And I'm like, what? It will happen. Don't worry. Don't be afraid. Things will happen. We will make sure that we are being safe. We're being healthy. And I think it is important that if, how can I say? I know there's been a lot of funny things about our mayor, but there are certain guidelines out there that we do want to follow. Even as Christians, we if there's something that the land says, we don't want to fight and be divisive about it. There's certain things that are there for our protection, and then there's certain things know when to fight and know when not to fight. Like Heidi, just do be like Heidi and kind of know how to get your point across.
So a couple of the things that people have brought up are things that they're concerned about or think that might be an issue are insurance, having smaller casts and the cost to sanitize and follow requirements that are going to be too high for like indie projects like us. That's something that we're actually thinking about, is how to make sure things are clean and people are safe.
Yeah. So some of the added, quote unquote, added expenses. And I'll say this too, because I've done background for a while, and now they're talking about cutting background, pretty much CGI with a lot of that. And so a lot of people, you want that live experience, you want that person to person experience. And so I know, that's a concern as well. How to, as far as the dehumanizing of movies, when you're just animating everything, how does that look, on screen? And, then the people behind it, people's livelihoods are affected, because people do background work, and that's not the source, or may not be a source anymore. So those are all valid concerns.
Yeah, and that's a way that people can get to network.
Yes.
I know a lot of you guys have known each other, and part of that is working on different sets. And if you're having to be two separate, then how are you going to get to know the other actors and really interact with them? Something that I'm thinking about and that Crystal is throwing around is, how are we going to be shooting people when we're going to be doing the next episodes, and making sure that they're maintaining a 6-foot distance and things like that.
Yeah, that's key. The next episodes, yes, we want churched to be churched again in the fall. We want round 2. So
right, exactly. We need to have more churched.
Yes,
we'll have more fun.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to seeing what creatively happens, because I believe that all things are possible.
Yes.
We
have one more question. And what would interest you most? So people that are not a part of church right now, would it be interesting to be a background actor on season 2? Would it be more interesting to be able to hang out on set and see what happens behind the scenes with the actors? Or would it be most interesting to be a part of the decision-making process, like being a producer? That's something that I know I've heard from some people when they get involved with the industry. They really want to be on that decision-making side, and they want to have a seat at the table. So we're interested in what people are thinking would be the most interesting aspect of being a part of the look at you, to be a part of the project.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? What do you guys, would you want to be in the room where it happens? Would you want to be, in sneaking in the background, or do you want to just hang around all the action? So I would be very interested to see how people respond to that question. Now, are you asking me to respond to that, or we got some people who wanna chime in?
Nope, I'm not. That would be something like Joe. If Joe Shores, if he's interested, or Abigail.
Yes. Okay.
Or if the other actors want to comment and say what they're most interested in. Maybe they're in front of the camera right now, but they really want to be a part of that producing team. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have a preferred place that you want to be, or is it on camera is where you definitely want to be?
I want to be on camera. I do. I mean, I think it is really fun to try to get a persona and then say, okay, let me creatively share, this so that people can understand how life through their eyes are. I do, and I am actually interested in writing, because I think as an actor, I think you really need to understand how from the writer's point of view, something gets developed, so that by the time you get the script, you actually have an idea that this actually came from somewhere. And so I know a lot of times, and I've been at Second City and we like to improv, but I think you have a greater respect when you try to delve into the writing aspect.
Yeah.
To see how that kind of comes together, so that when you are researching and developing your character, you have a idea from both sides of that spectrum too.
Yeah. And Mimi is saying she'd rather be on camera, baby.
That's right. That's right. How am I going? I got to be with Mimi, so I got to be in front of the camera too. So I got to be like with a pencil on this hand, and then like over here this way.
So tell me, Monique, what have you been doing, or what is kind of on the docket for you? What kind of projects are you working on?
Oh, thank you for asking that. Well, one thing, and of course, kind of just in time before all this happened, I was working on a film called Lives on the Line. Oh. And Lives on the Line is about veterans, and how some of the veterans are, what they actually go through. It's not a documentary, but there's so much realism in it that it could be. So it's about, what do they go through when they have to get their health care? When I'm in the VA, what is that real experience like? And how does that affect people who have come back and then, in their state? So I thought that was I was working on that. And so that was, I was very, very fortunate. Steve Stein, he's the director, excellent, and just a wonderful person like you and Crystal. But I think, the same type of passion is there for that have, purpose and deeper meanings. I love the comedy though. I like the comedy that the church brings. I love that. Lives on the Line is a kind of a more serious subject, but I'm loving comedy. So, and of course I'm very, speaking of church, I'm very involved in our church. And so we actually have a lot of different things going on now. We have small groups that meet twice a week. And then our dance ministry actually hosts rehearsals online, so that we can physically rehearse and see each other online. And that happens every week too. And so in addition to some of the projects, and then I just auditioned for another show for a table read that's coming up. So it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
Luck. That's exciting.
Yes.
But don't let it overlap with what we're going to be doing with episode 2. Okay.
Oh, look, it's got to stop, baby. It's
season 2.
Heidi's like, look, I don't care what I gotta be back with Pastor Steve.
Antoinette Maxwell said, "Hi, Monique."
Antoinette Maxwell, that's my friend and sister. She's the godmother, one of the godmothers of my children.
Go godmother.
Thank you. Hashtag godmama. Hashtag you're the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you joining me here. It's been great talking to you and getting to share more with you. Remember, everybody, that we're going to be back here next week on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. The next episode 7, will be releasing. Episode 6 will post on YouTube on Friday. If you're looking for it on YouTube, you can find it on the ARK Productions channel. That's ARK, A-R-K, Productions channel. And I think that we're even posting the question and answers. So you'll find this out there on Friday as well around 8 o'clock.
Yes. And later on, I have to share a funny story with you when I was auditioning for church. You'll love it, Melissa.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if we have time to do it right now, but
you can tell the story now.
Here's my hilarious story. So I had to go down, you guys were doing the auditions downtown. I learned about it from Actors Access. And so I went downtown to the SAG office, but as I was driving, I forgot that my plates were expired and the officer pulled me over. And it was just like one of those sitcoms. I'm like, officer, I'm sorry. And he's like, why are you? And plus I was kind of speeding just a little bit. And
just like, just a little bit. Who's not speeding?
They say I drive fast anyway, but he pulled me over and he goes, your plates are expired. I was like, no. But he said, well, where are you going? I said, I'm going to an audition. I'm like, he thinks I am lying. I know he looked at me and I said, I'm going to audition. I had to show him my headshot and he was like, just go.
Just go.
So literally I got stopped by the cops on the way to the church audition. So but when I came, it was like, okay, so I was like, let me, bring it in so I can audition because I'm like,
yeah, they're my thoughts.
The cops told me, right? Yeah, my thoughts. So there's my one wonderful funny church story audition about auditioning. So,
did you tell him you were auditioning for something that was taking place in a church?
He'd like, see, that's what I thought about those church people. That's exactly. I just stopped 3 of y'all already. No, I didn't even have the nerve. I'm like, I better not tell them it's about the church. I didn't.
That's so funny.
That's my funny story. Melissa, and I really appreciate Melissa and big shout out to Crystal. It was an amazing time. They really gave us a lot of freedom to be ourselves on the set.
That's all Crystal.
The food was good. It was amazing. All of the characters. My shout out to my the Pastor Ben and Ben, Mimi, everybody, all the cast. Everybody was just wonderful. I was among giants. It was a wonderful time. Thank you guys for having me. It was a blessing.
It was a blessing to have you as well. All of our actors, our cast, our crew were all amazing. Thank you so much. You take care, and we'll see you all next week.
Keep crocheting. Keep crocheting.